Hello, I'm Senator Joe Robach, and welcome to News and Views. Today our show is going to be a little bit different. It's a little role reversal for me. Rather than be interviewed, I have the privilege of having two people on the show today who are going to talk a little bit about their great organization, the Junior League, and also get into a topic which they have been very helpful in driving as we in the legislature collectively try to work to stamp out an end and really make it difficult to do any human sex trafficking, which just by its title and name is obviously an awful and terrible thing for anybody. But first I want to welcome our guest, Denise Murphy McGraw, who is very active in the Junior League and a co-chair of our statewide NYSPAC is the proper name.
Exactly, Senator.
But even though you're out of Albany, I want to tell the people we've known each other for a long time, and Denise has many roots in Rochester. I don't know if you want to tell us a little about yourself.
I went to college at Brockport, and I worked and lived in Rochester for many, many years. We're old friends. You've been a supporter for many years. I'm so glad to be on this show. Once again, Senator, thank you for having me here. I'm here in a volunteer capacity today and on a topic that's very important to me. And I've been a member of the Junior League for about 15 years now, and I've been involved, as you know, because you've been a supporter of the Junior Leagues. We're a civic leadership group. We help train women to be civic leaders, and I've worked with Rose for about 5 years now, and the Junior League of Rochester, as you well know, is one of the strongest and best junior leagues in the country, quite frankly, and I'm so proud to be here with my friend Rose here today. So,
right. You certainly do a lot of great things, from the volunteerism to the groups you get in. And Rose Feor, who is a Rochester native, and there works in the area, and also you are in charge of outreach and partnership chairing, as well as a co-chair of the statewide NYSPAC as well.
Yep. So I work on the NYSPAC board as well locally in the Rochester League. So as Denise already alluded to, the Rochester League has a very great history in the area. We recently celebrated our 80th anniversary of the Junior League of Rochester. So we've been providing community service programs and professional development to the women in the area for 80 years.
Yeah, and I know that, the Junior League, besides kind of promoting volunteerism in women, what are some of the things, I know in Rochester you've been involved in cancer, prevention?
Yep, we've actually worked with a lot of local organizations in Rochester, everything from Gilda's Club on the cancer support to Surgeoner House, Ronald McDonald House. Right now we run a program called Girls Rock, which is one that the Junior League of Rochester developed, and it focuses on providing after-school activities around self-empowerment and life skills for teenagers. So we've partnered up with Monroe High School as well as the Center for Youth and the Carlson Y to provide. It's a free program. It's open to anyone in the area to come in. So.
Right, and I think it's great, everything you're doing. And I would say this, maybe you can't say this, but one time being involved with the league, I think there's like a little bit of a misnomer out there. One time, somebody said to me when I told them I was going to one of the events, they said, isn't that kind of like a suburban thing? When the reality is, you really take on issues that affect young women, women of all ages, all across the spectrum, urban, suburban, rich, poor, you name it. That's pretty much the whole design, correct?
Senator, thank you very much for raising it, because it's one of the things that we have really tried to focus on for the last few years. We're trying to shed the white gloves and pearls image.
Right.
The Junior Leagues International, which I served on the board for many years, is 200,000 women in 4 countries, from 263 leagues. And we really are women of all ages. We focus on all sorts of issues, whether it is fighting cancer, fighting domestic violence, promoting education, promoting the idea of eating healthy, or whatever it may very well be. But we take on issues that can impact our local communities in the best way possible, and really promoting the idea of women as civic leaders. For me, it's been being involved in the Junior League. I also chair the board of my local community college, and really getting involved in the best way possible as women, as wives, as mothers, and balancing all of that and teaching women, younger women, that they can do all of those things and do them very well. And, so thank you for raising that issue, because that's the thing that we have to continue to fight. And we do it through ways like this, working with people like you who can really help get the word out.
Right. So let's get right into that. So
absolutely.
Tell everybody a little bit about what is the NYSPAC, what exactly does that do, and what's the mechanism that you're utilizing?
We are an organization of 17 junior leagues throughout the state. We're about 8,000 women who come together twice a year, once in the fall to identify the issues that are most important to us. And then we come together in the spring to advocate on those issues. Over the years, it's been domestic violence, or it's been education, it's been childhood obesity. This year, it is an issue that you said, it's a heinous issue, it's a horrible issue, human trafficking. People say, human trafficking, that's not an issue that impacts us in any way. That doesn't take place in a place like Brighton, New York, or I live in a town that's very similar to Brighton, New York, Niskayuna, New York. Well, it absolutely does, and that's why we're taking it on. We're taking it on through the power of your office and your leadership. Rose will talk a little bit about that in a minute, but we're doing it in a very, very unique way by not just lobbying or advocating, not just having a bill that the one that you and Senator Lanza are advocating for and helping us get passed, but we're also doing it by what we're saying, taking over the Capitol. You helped us do this by getting pictures taken with a sign that says just what our T-shirts say, people are not for sale. And you stood with your colleagues today with signs that say that. You did it a couple of weeks ago. Through our efforts, we went from 40 co-sponsors of the legislation to almost 90 in just a very short period of time. Yes, that is great. There's only, so many legislators, so we really got it in a very short period of time, very far. And that's sort of unique. It doesn't really happen in that kind of way. Usually people just walk around, hand a piece of paper, say, will you support us in that way? So we're really trying to do something a little different. And we're trying to change the mindset and change the way things are done here in Albany. We're also trying to use social media, which doesn't always happen in Albany either. Trying to tweet and use Facebook and do things to engage people who are a little bit younger. Because the bill is taking on an issue that may be a little bit difficult to talk about, so that's really why. And Rose has really become the expert on the legislation.
Right, and I think one could understand, but what made the Junior League, Rose, want to champion this cause in particular?
I think it's something that's in everyone's backyard, and we have lots of our members, their wives, their mothers. This is something that could happen to their own children. Being in Rochester, we just had a case in Brighton, which is a very affluent suburb. Very, very shocking. I live in the city proper, but it's right over the street. It's where it's where I go running. It's where I go jogging. It's where we hang out. So it's something that's happening everywhere that we really want to take a stand on. And NYSPAC is members of the New York State Anti-Trafficking Coalition, so we already feel very strongly about this issue and really looked at this legislation where it's going to be filling a lot of gaps that we have. New York State has very comprehensive human trafficking laws already, so we've heard a lot, well, why do we need this new legislation? Why these new laws? And what this bill does, it attacks the issue from both sides, as I'm sure you know.
Right.
So it's the harsher penalties for the perpetrators, the buyers and sellers that really are fueling this industry, and then it's also protections for the victims to, encourage them to come forward or help them out when they are facing cases of prosecution so they're not re-victimized. So we're really looking at it much more well-rounded and much more comprehensively than ever before.
Well, and I think, first, let me say I greatly appreciate the Junior League and your guys' effort in particular, because it just has become part of the system. We have to raise awareness. You have to generate that public, I won't call it pressure, but want and desire sometimes. For something like this, to me, it's a no-brainer. When you see that it can happen anywhere, and some of the horrific things that happen. We've had girls who have run away from home, who once they've gotten the system, have just had a terrible, terrible victimization of them that's going to impact them for their whole lives. And, you think that, how awful it has to be. That's somebody's child. That's a young woman that might have a bright future. It's just awful stuff. And the predators, too, seem to be focusing more and more younger and younger. And it's even like gone international. And then the other ones where they take people who may be trying to get to this country but don't have anybody to look out for them. I even heard of a story in New York City where they're actually even threatening the parents of the young girl in the homeland of where she came from if they didn't cooperate. So this is awful in human terms. It's coercive, it's abusive. Well, it's already against the law. I think we should make the penalties much stronger. So I was very happy to join with you, Senator Lanza, Assemblywoman Paulin, and try and increase the penalties. And you said something, Rose, that's very important to me. Not only for the people that do it, but also if you want to, you got to go after the supply and the demand side. And so, we want to send a strong message to people who might think, well, I'm not really doing this, but I'm only utilizing it once or twice. That's unacceptable also. If no one wants to further exploit these
Senator,
young girls,
that's just it.
the traffickers won't have anybody to sell to, and we have to do everything we can to end it. And then once people do get there, well, this can be so hurtful, so impactful. Anything we can do to get them out of that, have them acclimate back to as much of a regular life as you can, that is critically important. So
we're just hopeful through our network of women all over the state, throughout your district, to get out the word about the fact that this does take place. I'm the mother of a 12-year-old. If someone wanted to buy her for $12 or $20, this is taking place. We just have to educate people. That's what we see our job as. Someone asked me today, well, what are you bringing to the table on this? What are you doing differently? What we bring to this is our ability to educate people, our ability to just simply be volunteers. I'm here today at a volunteer capacity just to really be that woman from Niskayuna, New York, that mother who's just saying, we can't stand for this anymore. And just to tell people, this is a heinous crime, and you said it, to just stop the supply side and the demand side of it.
Right.
And just to let people know that it is happening throughout the state. It's not just a New York City issue.
Right. It should be serious felonies. And the Junior League, I give both of you but your organization a lot of credit because you certainly have heightened the awareness greatly in the Capitol. As you said, got more sponsors on the bill, have people talking about it, realizing it's not that isolated as it should be, and plus the individual impact is so great. And I love the slogan that, as simple as it sounds, people are not for sale, is great because you need something to get people to focus on it. As simplistic as it sounds, when you see those news shows, and I can't remember which one did the documentary on it, and it mostly focused on young Asian women.
Right.
It was shocking. It was, really it made me cry to watch it, how mean, threatening, and abusive the treatment was of these people.
Who are just trying to come here for a better life.
I wouldn't treat my dog like that, let alone people treating human beings, and on top of exploiting them, even, not feeding them, dehydrating, just awful, awful stuff. So there's no question to me, these should be felonies. We should go after everybody. And I'm very optimistic that with your help and all the great work the Junior League has done, we'll get this bill passed. And I would really not only thank you for what you've done, both of you, Denise and Rose in the Junior League, but ask people watching, feel free to contact the Junior League, contact our offices if you want to get involved in this, because working all together is how we'll stamp this out. And hopefully, I'd like to be able to come back and say sometime we almost have this stamped out completely, and no young women, whether they're from the United States or anywhere in the world, who want to come here are going to have to be victimized by this scourge and plague. So thank you very much. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next week.